hot stove. Hot stove. Hot stove. This is the hot stove video. Alright. Greetings, YouTube world. We're back with the second part of my top tier free agents video. Because it was so massive, I had to split it into 2 parts. And yes, I'm realizing that this adds up to 4 and not 2. But you know, it's just 2 hands with 2 fingers. 2. Next up is Nelson Cruz of the Minnesota Twins. He may just be the best pure hitter in baseball, not named Mike Trout or Mookie Betts. Nelson Cruz can just hit, and even though he's limited to a DH, he's still doing very valuable numbers for the Minnesota Twins. So, where do you think he's going to sign, Dr. Griffin? Well, I think that Nelson Cruz is going to stay with the Minnesota Twins. It has been a great fit since he's gone to that team, and they are consistently contending and can use his bat in the middle of the lineup. I think he maybe gets a 1 to 2 year deal given his advanced age, and probably in the $20 million a year range. Next up is the Bauer outage. Trevor Bauer. People either like or really hate this guy. He's got no middle ground. People who love him for what he says about the commissioner of baseball and trying to improve the game, and people who hate him remember that time he threw the ball from the pitcher's mound into the stands, and the time that he was flying his drone around and hurt his fingers. Bauer had a phenomenal season on his age 30 year, and he's in line to likely be the NL Cy Young Award winner. Bauer, I think, is going to be the trickiest one to figure out in this entire offseason, because he is a wild card if there ever was one. Wild card, bitches! We're talking about a guy who made a wager that if he ever signed a deal longer than 1 year, that he would be shot in the groin with a paintball gun. I'm not making that up. That's actually a real thing. You can Google it and find out yourself. Just type that stuff into Google machine and you'll find it. It's real and it's fantastic. Ultimately, I see Bauer going to a contender and not signing anything longer than 1 year. He seems like the kind of guy that does not want to sign a long-term deal during the pandemic. So my guess is he's going to sign with the San Diego Padres. The Padres were a team that went all in this year trying to make the playoffs for the first time in over 15 years. And when they made the playoffs, their best pitchers were injured. I think this is a time where they can go in and grab Bauer for 1 year and really take a shot at it and beat those pesky Dodgers and make it to the World Series. Whereas I think the Padres would be apprehensive to sign him to a long-term deal. Bauer seems like the perfect candidate for a short-term playoff run where they could maybe sign him for 1 or maybe even 2 years and just take a real shot. For the terms of the deal, I think he takes a 1 year deal in the $25 to $30 million range. George Springer is up next. From the Astros, he's their power-hitting leadoff center fielder, also mentioned in my earlier video. Springer is the top-ranked outfielder and arguably as good, if not a better hitter than Real Muto. So, where do you think he's going to sign, Dr. Griffin? Well, there was a lot of chatter during the season that he would definitely not be going back to the Astros. And there's been kind of these ties that I've heard of where he wants to go play for Boston. I don't think that's in the cards exactly. Boston does have a need for a center fielder, as I expect they won't sign Jackie Bradley Jr. But with the qualifying offer and the Red Sox having a very high pick in the second round they'd have to be giving up, I just don't see the new general manager doing that. I think George Springer is going to get a big contract from the new Mets owner, wanting to make a big free agent splash in his first season with the team. And I think he's going to get a 6-year deal in the $125 to $150 million range. An unexpected name to join this list is Charlie Morton, formerly of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Charlie Murphy!
The Rays had a $15 million option on Charlie Morton that they elected to decline, probably due to the pandemic and just baseball general cheapness. Morton, though, is an ace caliber pitcher who could help any number of teams, probably contenders more than anybody, though. Although he's 37 years old, he showed no signs of slowing down and was a very effective pitcher throughout the playoffs. So, where do you think he's going to sign, Dr. Griffin? Well, I think Charlie Morton is a perfect fit for the New York Yankees. They have a need for pitching, especially behind Garrett Cole, as Masahiro Tanaka, Jay Happ, among others, are free agents. And it's unclear when Luis Severino is going to come back from Tommy John surgery. The Yankees could probably snag Morton for a 2-year, $15 million a year. Maybe get a third year in there too. But that seems to be a good range for Morton to where he can help the team out. Liam Hendriks of the Oakland A's is up next. Liam's the top closer on the market, and he has been arguably the top closer in baseball since the middle of 2019 when he took over the closing position. I happened to snag him on my fantasy team the last 2 years and have been really, really happy with the results. So where do you think he's going to sign, Dr. Griffin? Well, I think that Liam Hendriks is a perfect fit for the Philadelphia Phillies. They have had serious issues with the closer spot for the past few years, and they even tried to sign Nathan Eovaldi a few years ago as a closer, even though he was always wanting to be a starter. Philly's closer situation was an utter disaster last year, as Hector Neris got demoted quickly, and then they traded for Brandon Workman of the Red Sox, and he just fell off a cliff, so they went back to Neris, and basically their closer situation kept them from making the playoffs because they blew so many late inning games. Signing a guy like Hendriks would help seal the deal at the end of the game and possibly get them into the playoffs this season. And last, we've reached the conclusion of both parts of my top tier MLB free agents. Maybe I'll decide to do more of these videos, or maybe not. You'll just have to stay tuned to find out. Ta-ta! Did you like the video? Hit the like button. If you have some suggestions about some future videos, or you just want to yell about how bad this video was, feel free to make some comments in the comment section. You can also subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button so that you can be notified when my new videos are coming out. Also, feel free to follow me on my various social media platforms. Ta-ta!